Hello everyone. In this presentation, the life and mission of Reverend Myung, part 3, we'll look at Father's mission as he's moved into Pyongyang. So the first 3 months, he was witnessing and is reaching out to many people. Many people joined at that time. We have to remember that the central person, his true father, he's in a John the Baptist position. He has to testify to himself being the Messiah. And the Korean Christians were in the same position. True Father was sent by God to Pyongyang because Jerusalem, even though it was under communist control, it was the most religious, most Christian city in Asia at that time. It was referred to as the Jerusalem of the East. And so he's reaching out, and he was successfully finding many people to join his church. But after 3 months, persecution began. Won Pil Kim is the first follower of True Father, joined at this time. But after the 3 months of being in Pyongyang, Christian ministers became jealous of True Father because many members of their congregations started to attend True Father's church. So they complained to the police. And on August 11th, 1946, Father was arrested and charged with being a spy that came from the south. He was imprisoned in the Daedong security prison for 3 months. He was severely tortured, but after 3 months, they found him not guilty, so they released him. They found him not guilty, but apparently it took a long time to recover. He was on the verge of death. The situation, the communist authorities, they saw religion as a problem. They didn't believe in the religions. They just wanted to get rid of them, actually. So when some Christian ministers complained about True Father, they let them do their dirty work, in a way. So the Christian ministers reported to the communist authorities against True Father. So because the plan of the communist authorities was to get rid of all the churches, which they eventually did, actually. At a certain point, there's no churches at all in North Korea. But in these stages, their strategy was to start with one church, get rid of that one, and then start persecuting another church and get rid of that one. It's very similar to at the time of Jesus. The Jewish leaders were complaining to the Roman authorities about Jesus, and eventually they had the Roman authorities crucify him. But after he was released, of course, he continued for about a year. He was successfully building up the church. Many people were following him. But eventually the Christian ministers started a negative movement, basically, against the True Father. And 80 Christian ministers wrote a joint letter to the police. And on February the 22nd, 1948, Father was again arrested and charged with being a spy for Syngman Rhee and with disturbing the social order. And imprisoned, the guards demanded that he confess his crimes, and Father refused, so he was continuously tortured. They accused him of being a spy because they use any charge, basically. They just want to get rid of him. And on the trial, Father expressed, the trial was in April 7th, 1948, many of the most famous ministers in North Korea came to the courtroom and accused me of all manner of crimes, as a peace-loving global citizen, page 91. So he was constantly tortured at this time in the prison camp. early follower, Reverend Heungnam, states that Father endured 7 types of torture. And True Father suffered 7 times the terrible tortures that left him on the verge of death, but he survived by God's miracle. You see, he's been tortured at this time, but then until if in a state of unconsciousness, any of these times he could have died, but he survived. At this time, True Father's mother came to the prison camp very rarely, because very rarely the prisoners were allowed, visitors were allowed. But she sent him humble things like some clothing or rice cakes. But when she found out that he was sharing it with other prisoners, she was heartbroken, because that's such a miserable situation he was in. But he just shared everything she gave him to the other prisoners. So the meaning of this actually is very important for us to understand. Father had to take up his mission from where Jesus left his mission, which was from the position of death. When Jesus died, left this earth, he was killed. So in these hellish circumstances, Father gained 12 disciples. He had to find 12 people who'd follow him. He had to get beyond Jesus' position. Now Satan took the true parent's right and the King of Kings' right from Adam. And that's why in all of history we've been under Satan's dominion, as the Bible states. When Satan's lineage, as John 8:44 states. And so the new Adam, the Messiah, true Father, his mission is to take from Satan the true parent's right and the King of Kings' right. And that's the price he had to pay through the suffering and the tortures. Like Jesus on the cross, we see that he was killed on the cross. Everyone knows that. But if you read the scriptures, actually, what was Satan trying to do? He didn't immediately just kill Jesus. He could have done that any time. But he was tortured, he was slapped, he was blindfolded, he was flogged. Any of these tortures could have killed Jesus. But in all of these, he had to keep faith. Satan was trying to get Jesus to curse God, give up his mission. But he never did. So that's why Jesus defeated Satan on the cross. Satan could take his body, but he couldn't take his spirit. And that's the real victory of Jesus. And because he defeated Satan on the cross, he could come back in the resurrection, but he could bring spiritual salvation. So likewise, the tortures that True Father was enduring was the same. Satan was trying to break True Father down, so he would give up his mission. And any of these tortures, if he did, he probably would have just died in that torture. But each of the tortures, he just kept faith, and praised God, and he survived. And that was the price that True Father paid. So, the war ended, basically. Well, the war didn't end, but the United Nations started bombing Heungnam prison camp, and so the prison was opened. The prison guards, they start executing the prisoners. Actually, the day before is True Father's time to be executed. They were released. He escaped. And he made his way down to the south. So next presentation we'll look at what happened when he was released from prison. Where did he go? What the next course of his action, which he went down eventually to Busan. So thank you very much for hearing this presentation. Thank you.